Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Battle League video. Today I'm going to be reacting to some gameplay sent into the channel by Papa Legba. Thank you very much for sending in the battles. And today's showcase is going to be more focused around Steelix. Steelix for me is on the top of my list for Pokemon that I want to build for Ultra League. I think this Pokemon is quite busted in fact. It can beat Swampert, Shadow Swampert in the 2s, just going straight Breaking Swipe. If you get a 1 Dragon Tail advantage, you can beat Virizion. I think this Pokemon is super strong. You may say it's broken, you may say it's just super strong. I think it's just such a good option in the Ultra League currently. We've had Onixes spawning in the wild quite recently, so if you're looking to build an Ultra League team, I think Steelix is one of the first Pokemon you build. It's a pretty accessible Pokemon, quite an expensive Pokemon of course, if you go for rank 1, but you can maybe get away with best buddying it, putting like 200 to 250 XL candy into it. I do think it's a very worthwhile investment, and we're going to have a look at some gameplay here. Once again, thank you for the battle submission. Guys, if you want to send in some battles over the next couple of weeks, we have Sunshine Cup, Ultra League this week, we have Open Great League, Open Ultra League next week. I'm not going to do any Master League showcases, and then we have another week I think of Ultra League and Sunshine Cup. So if you guys want to send in some battles over those couple of weeks, I'll definitely showcase some Ultra League teams, especially some more unusual teams. And if you're running any spicy Pokemon in the Sunshine Cup, by all means send those in. With all that being said, let's hop into the gameplay, drop a like, subscribe, you know the drill around here, and as well, I want to ask you a question. If I upload the same team twice, I actually had Veteran with my team from yesterday today, plus 100 elo. Are you guys interested in seeing the same team twice, or do you guys want to see like different teams? Let me know in the comment section down below. So hopping into this here, we've got, like I said, a very strong team. Basically double fighter with Steelix in the lead. The really good thing about Deoxys is it beats all of the other fighters. Deoxys, generally speaking, is quite weak to things like Trevenant. I would say Trevenant's probably the biggest core breaker for this whole team, or any sort of good ghost type in the Ultra League. We've got a Snorlax. Can we farm it the whole way down? We do get it the whole way down. And back in comes Trevenant. We're going to go for an undercharge here on the Psycho Boost. Of course, they're super low. That's the good thing about Deoxys. You can hit Trevenant for heavy damage with Psycho Boost, and that is basically good games well played. Let me know guys as well if you're playing Ultra League or Sunshine Cup this week. I've definitely been sticking to Sunshine Cup. Last time I played Ultra League, I didn't have the greatest of times, and we have a Georgigon lead, which should be very interesting. The opponent should be getting out here, and in comes Toxicroak. That's not really an answer to Steelix. What we should do here is debuff the Toxicroak, come into our Deoxys. I think you just get out of here, like debuff it once if you want to, but this is a very dominant matchup for Deoxys here, because of course Psycho Boost is double super effective with the fighting type. So you basically build up to 2, yeah, we're double debuffing them, and at this point, I think you build up to 100 energy, and just try to get off the move. They're super debuffed, even a Sludge Bomb will not do that much. We're going for Thunderbolt. I actually quite like this play. We're not debuffing ourselves, and we're getting a little bit of extra farm for the next Pokemon, so I think this is well played so far. Sludge Bomb coming through, of course it is double debuffed, so it doesn't really do too much. In comes a Grand Bull of all things. Now I think we go for back-to-back Psycho Boosts, or maybe we can get off a Thunderbolt and Psycho Boost. Deoxys is not a Pokemon I've used. Yeah, I think you do go back-to-back there. If you're just wondering, so Psycho Boost only does slightly less damage than Thunderbolt, but it is a lot cheaper. If you can get off a Thunderbolt and a Psycho Boost, that is the best way to go. The opponent goes for a move here, the Crunch, or Close Combat would obviously chunk. They come back into Georgigon, and that's not going to help them. Boom, that's going to hurt an absolute ton. We go for a very nice catch. I think this might be a Night Slash. I think this thing knows, oh, it's Dragon Claw. So that's definitely a very nice catch, and we should be able to basically farm down. The opponent is debuffed, and Georgigon is such a fun Pokemon for this cup. They go for Night Slash! Not sure what that's all about. They're trying something a little bit different. In comes Grand Bull. We have basically back-to-back moves loaded, and we only need 1. Good games, well played. So that is the really deadly thing about Steelix, and that's what we're seeing with this Pokemon so much. Such a bulky Pokemon. You're debuffing things into oblivion, and allowing yourself to swap out, take minimal damage on your swap, and then have a ton of energy for whatever comes back in. This opponent is on Ember with Charizard. I rate this, you know. This is pretty funny. They come into Deoxys here. I think he probably can stay in. They come into Greninja. That is not the play, folks. This one Night Slash will not KO or even close. It's going to take another 2 to KO. Of course, we let the first one go. You always let the first one go, because of course they can get the boost. I think this is just a clean win for DD. I don't mind shielding this here. We can live it, but this should basically force the Charizard to throw energy on the other side. And by the looks of things with this team, a Charizard is more of a team effort. I think for Charizard, you probably want Rock Slide. They come in with a Charm Clefable. Charm Clefable is the funniest thing. I'm not sure again if you can get off 2 moves. We'll have a look here. Hopefully we do get off both. Yeah, so we do actually end up swapping out here, and swap into, of course, our soft counter to Clefable. It's not a counter at all, really. Meteor Mash coming through, we just let that go. That is a CMP tie, which is perfect, which means they're forced to eat this damage, and then they can swap probably out. The opponent should be swapping back into their Charizard here to get an extra farm down, but we're in a very good position here at this point. Are we going to call a Blast Burn? Yo, we do call it. That's unfortunate, honestly. Yeah, that's pretty tough. I don't think they're getting to 2 Blast Burns, to be honest with you, but I do respect the call. In comes Deoxys versus Snorlax. I want to say this is probably good for Snorlax because Deoxys has got a really good defense stat, but it does really bad against one-turn moves. We've got super effective licks because it's got a low HP stat and a high defense, right? I'm just looking at this in the Ultra League right now. 288 defense, but 126 stamina. So for the Ultra League, that's a pretty low stamina stat. If you have a look at something like Charizard, it's got 151 stamina. Generally speaking, one-turn moves are very bad for Deoxys. Coming in here was the correct swap though, because of course, Virizion is your hard answer to it. And I like sweeping with Virizion as well. We do a ton of damage. Psycho Boost doing that super effective damage. I love Roserade, it's on Razor Leaf. We're seeing so many toxic fast move teams. I think it takes them about 10 Razor Leafs to get to the Fireball. They're trying to get off the Fireball. I would honestly just let this go. It's not going to do that much. Yeah, was that really worth a shield? Probably not. We're going to permanently debuff the Arcanine in the back. The opponent's coming with the fire today. The opponent's coming with the fire. I think they should have just trusted an Arcanine. We do come in here to probably absorb some damage. And of course, get off a few Secret Swords. Yo, Arcanine cannot take a hit. That is a Pokemon I do want to use in Ultra League. They go for Crunch as well. I'm fairly certain this Pokemon knows Psychic Fangs, if I'm not mistaken. This thing actually has so many moves. It's got Wild Charge, Psychic Fangs, Crunch, Flamethrower, Fire Blast, Scorching Sands, Bulldoze. That thing's got an array of moves. I think actually Scorching Sands could be a pretty fun one for Arcanine. We have Muck here, a very positive matchup for Steelix. You just don't even have to go for Earthquake. You can build up to it, of course, to threaten it. But you're chilling here, like, just debuff them into oblivion. The opponent does let it go, so nice call by the opponent. If I was the opponent, I probably would have let that go as well. Now the Dark Pulses are doing basically nothing. And we're going to come out here with a Breaking Swipe, or the ability to Earthquake something as well. So let's have a look, see what comes in. It is a Venusaur, and we do go for Breaking Swipe, okay. I think this is fine. Can you actually survive this move? I don't think so either. We're going to get off multiple moves. Now, can you actually get to another Earthquake for Dragon Tails? One. Yeah, we're just going for the debuffs. I think it's safer going for these at this point. You probably throw this next one off in bad timing just to get it off. The opponent comes into Togekiss. We're going to debuff it into Oblivion again. And this is actually our main answer to Togekiss, so this is a little bit tricky. However, Deoxys is a Psychic type, and with the debuff, these are doing absolutely nothing. This should be an Ancient Power. We just let this go. Perfectly good. Man, what is with these fast move pressure teams? Complete toxic teams here. Deoxys is going to be able to take care of this whole match basically at this point. Yeah, the opponent sees the writing on the wall, so to speak, and taps that door in the top left. So in comes Papa Bear versus Papa Legba. Who's the best Papa here? Well, we have a pretty negative lead. Let's see what we can do with it. This is like a core breaker, Loki. You have to stay in here, I think. Yeah, I would just stay in here and insta-throw this. Contrary to what you would normally do, if you're Blaziken in this situation, if you've got Blaze Kick, I think you just go straight for it on CMP. Even if the opponent gets an extra Dragon Tail through, they actually do dump the debuffed Blast Burn. I don't think that was the one. And we're going to go for Thunderbolts on the Dragonite. I think we'll go for one of these and one Psycho Boost. Yeah, that's going to be looking good. I think we still survive this. As I mentioned before though, one-turn moves are very... Oh, this is a Dragon Tail one. So I think we actually do get to 2 moves here. I think we go for double Psycho Boost at this point, definitely. Oh, the opponent lets it go. Can we get to the move in time? We just about do. Deoxys is so thick. I actually hate this Pokemon. It's such an annoying Pokemon to face. I think at this point, guys, we have to come back into Steelix. We cannot really let this thing go ham on our Virizion. And I think we probably have to shield here as well. The opponent is just absolutely YOLOing off these Blast Burns, and it's definitely a good shield. This is going to definitely KO. Let's see what they have. Yeah, just another Blast Burn. We come into Virizion, they come into the Penguin, and this is basically game over at this point. They probably will reach a Drill Peck, but it definitely will not one-shot, and we should be able to basically farm it the whole way down. Let's have a look here. You don't even necessarily have to farm it down, I don't think. They go for Hydro Cannon. The Blaziken is super low on the other side, so we don't necessarily need a move for it. They just dumped 2 Blast Burns, boom. One Double Kick takes it out, and that's a good game well played. So yeah, even if the opponent had Drill Peck, it wasn't going to make a difference in that situation. Steelix versus Giratina, really positive lead. And again, this is like a core that this is breaking. And we come into Deoxys versus Cobalion. Very, very dominant matchup. I think Giratina double steal is a thing, so I do like the idea of sweeping with Virizion here. And we're going to go for Thunderbolts, not Psycho Boosts. Psycho Boosts will be neutral. Boom, Thunderbolt comes through. Does a pretty big chunk into the Cobalion, and they'll get off last second Stone Edge. At this point, we should be able to counter it the whole way down, and we'll have a Thunderbolt loaded for whatever comes back in. Yep, back in comes Giratina. We do go for straight Psycho Boost here. We're looking in a great position now because, like I said, guys, Steelix is going to come in. They're going to be able to apply a debuff whenever they swap out, and whatever's in the back is going to get probably completely destroyed by Virizion. Let's see what the opponent decides to do. I'm expecting the insta swap. Yep, we could have debuffed it there to make sure that we don't have to basically call the Moonblast. The opponent built up to the Moonblast. We'll see what they decide to do here. I'd probably just let this go at this point. You live a Moonblast super comfortably here, and they can't really water gun you down. That's a respectable shield, because you're going to have to get off 2 Leaf Blades here to kill it anyway. Yeah, so we get this off in time. And there's basically nothing the opponent can do at this point. Like, yeah, they just shield this, you shield back. This is perfectly fine. There's no way to get to enough Moonblasts in time. You might as well You can let this go, like I said, because I think you still live it from here, but this is definitely the safer play. And Steelix just completely dominates the other thing. The opponent definitely realizes that. Well, they go for a catch here. Very nice catch attempt, but they do fail in catching, and this is basically game over. The most optimal way to play this is probably get off a breaking swipe immediately and farm it the whole way down afterwards, which will allow you to get to an earthquake and force them to throw energy. You don't want to put them in a position where they can farm you down, but I think it's a bit too late for that, right? Yeah, so that's coming through. We should be committing to the farm down here at this point. I think what you have to do here is just make sure you commit to the earthquake if the opponent does get to the move. Oh yeah, we're one off the earthquake. We're basically chilling here at this point. So good games well played. Steelix is a Tapu Fini counter confirmed. I am definitely in the sort of camp that thinks Steelix is definitely on the overpowered side. I don't know, I think it's just way too bulky to have breaking swipe. Like breaking swipe on something like Haxorus makes perfect sense. The opponent's coming into a Mewtwo. What moveset are they going to be running here? They come into a Quaquaval, which is quite interesting. This thing knows Close Combat and I believe Aerialius. Oh, look at the legs go, look at the legs. It's going nuts here. They're on actually Liquidation in Ultra League, which makes perfect sense. This is an interesting Pokemon. I think this is the first time I'm seeing this in Ultra League. So they go for 2 Liquidations, we go for Thunderbolt. That will one-shot the Quaquaval. It is so weak. The opponent's coming into Skeledirge. I think out of all of the new Pokemon, this is by far the best one. I've been seeing it in Sunshine Cup a little bit. It doesn't seem to do that well in Sunshine Cup. Honestly, I think it needs a new fast move. I think you give this thing a new fast move that's not locking you in for 5 turns. I think it's chilling. Now, at this point, you do have to come into Steelix and go for the debuff immediately. You probably shield up the first move here, just so you're taking less damage from the next one, but I think we're still in a very good position here. Steelix, even though this is like a negative typing, should be able to take care of this here. The opponent swaps back out and we do go for a breaking swipe. Now, of course, this is a psychic type versus our fighter in the back. This is looking pretty tricky for Virizion, but we should outpace to these moves. I don't know, like, this is a little bit tricky. Oh, that almost one-shots them. Now, do we let the Side Strike go? I think we can farm it down with Steelix. Yeah, they go for the Side Strike. It actually doesn't KO. And this Leaf Blade will be looking to, Secret Sword will be looking to do a nice little chip into them. In this situation, you go for Leaf Blade because it's only single resisted, and in general, it's a slightly more damage move. Skeledirge here, we're going to shield up the Disarming Voice, unfortunately. I do respect, obviously, trying to lower the damage here. They go for the Shadow Ball. That's almost enough to KO. Can we get to the move? Unfortunately not, guys. We are not able to live that Incinerate. So, a bit of a tough game. I think maybe shielding the heavy damage Shadow Ball at the start might have helped a little bit there. In comes Cresselia. This is a very positive lead. They know Grass Knot, of course, but we do know Breaking Swipe, which will minimize this damage. Cresselia has a positive matchup against Deoxys, so you do want to get rid of it here in the lead. You just basically stay in here. I think I've seen this team quite a lot with things like Registeel and just 2 tanks in the back, like a triple tank team, like Registeel and Giratina I've seen this team with. That's one thing I don't really like about the Ultra League. Sometimes the bulk is nice, but then you have the extreme version of it where you've got Cresselias, Giratinas, even Registeel all on the same team. And I don't know, it's just like, it's toxic bulk at that point, do you know what I mean? The less bulky Pokemon can barely keep up. The opponent will get off a last second move, no need to shield here whatsoever, we can farm it the whole way down. Or maybe the opponent swaps out, yeah, they just try to take alignment here. Okay, they come in with Poliwrath, so it's making me think here that they only have really one answer to Steelix. Whatever's in the back might be weak to this thing. Usually if they send a negative matchup in the start, it means they've only got one answer and they have to maintain alignment. So we'll see what happens here. Deoxys is a very, very positive match here. Scald coming through does absolutely nothing. And in comes Talonflame of all things. Not quite what I was expecting to see, to be completely honest with you, but we should be able to take care of this super easily now. Brave Bird me, go for it, just Brave Bird me. I would just let that go, to be honest with you. You're basically in no danger here. We can overfarm. Is this another Flame Charge? You might want to shield this one now because it will be Chungin, but we should be able to get off back-to-back Psycho Boosts. We throw after 2 for good timing, and we'll see what the opponent does. Do they stay in, or okay, let it go. And we can get off another Thunderbolt on the Poliwrath. What I would probably look to do here is swap out and clear the debuff. Yeah, and Leaf Blade will not quite one-shot this thing. It's going to take them more than 2 Ice Punches to KO. Ice Punch number 1 coming through, does not KO. Again, that's the good thing about Ultra League, you can survive moves, but as I mentioned earlier, it can be a little bit toxic with the super bulky teams. But this is good games well played, guys. Virizion, by the way, is such a good Pokemon if you have that in the back somewhere. Maybe you rated it, I think it was over 1.5 years ago now at this point, or over a year ago at least, when Cobalion and Virizion were in raids. Definitely a very good one, and yeah, if you have it, I would highly recommend putting some rare candies into it to build it. Escavalier is interesting, it knows Mega Horn, which will absolutely chunk. They go for Acid Spray, very nice call here in the Acid Spray. They come into a Charmer, so they're basically trying to debuff our defense and come into a Charmer. Clefable with Charm. I don't know, it couldn't be me. I'm not sure if you do get off 2 moves here. Hopefully we can get off the second Psycho Boost. It's going to be close. We just about get it off, so that's very, very nicely done. Just something to keep in mind is, if you're not going to throw after 7, throw after 10. for the most optimal timing. The opponent does come in here with Escav, gets the farm down, and we can come in with Virizion at this point. They will go for an Acid Spray most likely. Megahorn will be neutral of course because you've got the fighting typing. Fun fact, Escavalier does more damage with a resisted Megahorn than it does with a neutral Drill Run. Shout out to Chillis FM for that one. I learned that off him last season during the Fantasy Ultra. But yeah, this is a very dominant matchup here. We swap out to Steelix here. I don't even think we had to swap out, but we can look to basically commit to the Earthquake at this stage. Just shield up the Hydro Cannon, this is perfectly fine. And I don't even think that would KO to be honest with you, but we just shielded up, preserve some health, and at this point it's game over. We can even look to debuff the Escavalier. Not that it's even necessary at this point. This Breaking Swipe will almost KO, and yeah, there's not a whole lot the opponent can do at this stage. I think what makes Steelix so broken is that, like, how well it plays against its counters. The opponent gives up. It's like, what am I supposed to do against this thing? What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to top left, because this thing is kind of busted in my opinion. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, thank you Papa Legba for sending in the battles. Big shout out to him. And if you guys want to send in some battles of your own, feel free to fill in the form in the description with your battles. Guys, don't speed them up or don't edit them, just send me the full file. Roughly 10 battles is good. If you send me in some Ultra League or Sunshine Cup this week, or some Great League the following weeks, I will definitely react to those. And if you guys just want to have your battles showcased on the channel and hear my shit casting over them, or of course if you want any tips or anything to improve, feel free to let me know in the submission form. Thank you very much everybody, have a fantastic rest of your day, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you all tomorrow for a brand new video.